In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create screen designs and click dummies for SAP Fiori applications. And this will be really helpful for you if you want to design a custom Fiori application or if you want to customize standard applications, because you can really design and visualize your ideas. So we can see some screen designs right here. So they are indistinguishable between like the real applications. And the great thing is you can create all of this for free without having any coding knowledge, and you can create click dummies like you can see here, where you can navigate across all of these different screens. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do that. And my name is Maximilian Gref. I'm the CEO of Futurisma, and I'm a SAP UX consultant. And our goal at Futurisma is to deliver our customers modern, sexy, and user-friendly Fiori applications. And our goal is really to make the users happy with the software they use. And for that, one of the main things we are using are screen designs and click dummies. First of all, maybe a quick refresher. What is SAP Fiori? Since this is the very core of creating screen designs, SAP Fiori basically is a big ecosystem to realize modern user interfaces in the SAP world. It has been in development now for over 10 years. And basically, SAP Fiori is a set of standard apps, and most importantly, it is a big design system. This design system basically defines how modern SAP applications look. So it includes all UI elements such as a button, an input field, a date picker, tables, all of the visualizations, and it basically standardizes all of those UI elements and enables us to build applications rather quickly and very consistent. And in my opinion, it is really helpful to create screen designs when you are implementing custom Fiori applications, because you can really showcase what you want to build. You can get feedback from the end users before it's even in implementation, and that gives you a great advantage in your projects, since you can implement that feedback rather easily. So for example, here we have a list report, and the customer might want to have a different naming for this first column. Maybe this one is too long for them. They just want to have number as the column heading. And in the screen design, I can just go in, change this to another text, and it's done. And this is really easy to do and to gather such feedback, and enables us in the end to create very good user stories and to really kickstart the development. If you think, on the other hand, we would only get to know about this request by the user after we have implemented the application, it would be a lot of effort just to change a little bit of text, since we would have to change the text in the code. We would have to run some tests. We would have to schedule it for some releases. We would have to do some documentation and so on. And this can really save a lot of money and time. And I'm going to show you how exactly you can start creating those screen designs. First of all, you will need the right tool in order to create those screen designs. And basically, there's only one real option. All UX designers will know. Figma is a great tool. You can use it for free. It offers everything you need to create screen designs in general, but it is especially useful for us in designing SAP Fiori screen designs. And if you haven't done yet, you would need to create a free account at Figma. And I would also recommend you to download the desktop client. You can use this application in your browser, but I would recommend you, regarding performance, to run this application in the desktop client. If you have done that, then the second important thing you have to do is go to the page of the design stencils for Figma. So basically, if you Google design stencils, Figma and SAP Fiori, the first result should be this page. And here you can click on the button Download Design Stencils. And those design stencils are basically all we need to create screen designs, because SAP officially creates those stencils. So those are like templates where you can find all common UI elements. And you can just use that to create your screen design. So if you download the stencils, you will have a zip file, which you can then just unpack. And there you have different subfolders. And first of all, you would need to install some fonts so that everything works properly. So you go into the folder, for example, here in the desktop folder, and then you can just click on those fonts and install them. You could also just select all of them and install them all at once. And you would have to do the very same thing also for the icon font. So you go to sub icons and click through the different folders until you are in the icon folder, and then you can there also install the icon font, and then you should be ready to go. So if you have done that, you have created a Figma account, installed the Figma client, and installed all of the fonts. You can go into Figma and it should look something like this. So you will have probably an empty page. And the first thing that you should do is click here and import the stencils. So we go to our archive, and in the Horizon Web Stencil folder, you have 2 Figma files. I would recommend you to use the compact variant, and you just double click on it, and then the importing of those files will start. It will take a couple of minutes, so we let that run in the background. And meanwhile, let's get you maybe used to the Figma UI in general. So you can open multiple files in Figma at once, and you can navigate between those using those tabs. And you can always get back to like your home screen by clicking on this home. And yeah, that's basically the most important thing. Maybe in general regarding those stencils, we can really design and edit everything we want. So we can just go here and change the text to whatever we would like. And based on this is really a powerful tool to illustrate all our ideas that we have, and to just build screen designs that are user friendly and also work great for the development. And yeah, you can see here, for example, in this example project, I have created several screen designs. This takes me maybe about like 10 minutes, since I'm building those mostly on existing templates. And you can really illustrate every aspect, like from the Fiori Launchpad to an overview page, a list report, an object page, or any Fiori application that you might come up with. And in the meantime, our stencils are also finally imported into Figma, and you can then just double click on it and open those stencils. It will take a minute since it's quite a large file. And when it's loaded, in just a couple of seconds, we can have a look at it. So probably just a few seconds. So there we are. And basically now it's important for you to understand that here on the left, you can scroll down and you have a list of all UI elements that are part of SAP Fiori. So you have a date picker, you have buttons, for example, all of the different button variants, from primary buttons, secondary buttons, tertiary buttons. Maybe we want to have some tables, so we look for tables. We have a grid table, we have lists, and basically every UI element that you can imagine is part of this, are part of those design stencils. So you have those UI elements that are ready to use, but you also have some layouts and screen designs that you can also just use. For example, if you have an application that might make use of such a layout, you can just use this as a template to get started and then adapt it to your needs. And of course, we also have all of the Fiori elements, floor plans available. So the analytical list page, which looks just awesome from my perspective. We have a Fiori Launchpad. If you also want to illustrate it, a list report. And for now, we would like to stick with the initial page. So basically here in this file, you will find all of the UI elements that you need and all of the ready-to-use templates and layouts that might be good for you. And I would recommend you to create a separate file where you then create your screen designs. And for this, you just go back to home and click here on the button to create a new design file, which is basically done. And you can give it a name, for example, SAP Fiori test. And you can see it's completely empty. What I usually like to do is just to make it a bit darker so it doesn't hurt my eyes. And then we can get started. So just to demonstrate you how to work with those stencils, with those templates, you can go in to the stencils and with a left click you can select anything you want. And then you can just copy and paste that into your design file. So just as I have done here. And basically I want to build a very simple application, like with a table, with a search field. And first of all, I want to design something for a full HD monitor. So I'm changing here the aspect ratio to 1920 times 1080 pixels. And one thing that is important to know, you can now just click into like the text and change it to whatever you want. For example, you can name it My Fiori App. And you can also just select elements that you don't need and then remove by pressing remove on your keyboard. And so that's basically how you get started. And now you can really start the creation of your screen design. One thing you will have to do in this particular case, you have to right click on the screen design and click on the option detached instance. I could go into detail why this is necessary, but I think that would be too much information for this video. Basically, this allows you now to place everything you want in this canvas here. And now I can just remove that. And one other thing that we don't need to do anything more. So that's fine. If you have detached the instance, now you can get started. And now you can see this is kind of like a template for any Fiori application. So you just have the header bar with the application title, and now it's up to you what you want to build in here. So since SAP is a lot about tables, we just go back into our stencils. And since I know as an experienced UX designer that the responsive table is a decent table to use, I just go into that, copy paste the responsive table, place it into the canvas. And now I can also position it however I want. Of course, the best practices regarding Fiori would state that it's left aligned. And what you can also do is you can change the width of those elements, and they are quite responsive. All right, so maybe for our application, we would like to have a search field above. So we go back to our stencils. We look for a search field, and there we have it. And again, we can just copy paste it and place it wherever we want. And now, last but not least, I would like to have some forms in my SAP application. So SAP basically about tables, forms, and then we have everything we need in our example. And I just copy here a basic form element, paste it into my application, and I can now change the positioning of everything so that it does look nicely. I can also change the width of the form element. So now, yeah, it already looks pretty good. And we just do some fine tuning regarding the layout. So that's basically how you get those ready to use UI elements from this file into your design file. There is a better way to do it, but that would involve to buy a Figma license. If you have a Figma license, you could publish this library here, and you could then just type in here in this Assets tab button, and you could drag and drop the button in. This is not available in the free Figma version, but I wanted to really show it in the free version so that everyone can test this, but just for your knowledge. All right, now we have basic UI elements added into our screen design. But now, of course, we need to adapt this for our particular use case. So you can just go in, change the title. For example, we want to have here documents, and we can just change the title. Maybe instead of document number, we want number. Maybe instead of company, we want to have the first name of somebody. And you can just adapt this however you want. Something that is also very important that you can do is you can select most elements, and then on the right side you will have certain options and properties that you can change. For example, here I have selected the button, and since I know the button should be a bit more prominent, I can just change the type to primary, and now the button is really more visually appealing to me as a user. Since I often want to create something, I can now find the button more easier. And this way you can change a lot of things. You could also select, for example, the table and say, I want to have the table in edit mode, and you have basically another template to use. And this way you can really customize those UI elements to your needs. I could also remove couple of forms here. So whatever you want to do, you can just do in Figma. You can basically change every aspect. It should be important to keep in mind that although you can design anything in Figma, not everything will work in SAP. So it still has to be developed by someone, and therefore you should take a look at the SAP Fiori design guidelines. They are best practices on how to use the correct UI elements in a correct use case, and how to arrange everything consistently and user-friendly together. But that would be too much for this video. I basically just want to show you how to make use of this. All right, so that's basically how you use those stencils. So you just go in, copy paste them into your screen design, and then you have it ready to use. And now for the second part of this video, I would like to show you just briefly how you can also create a click dummy. Personally, I would like to navigate to a detail view whenever I'm clicking here on this arrow, since this is a very common interaction in SAP applications. So since I'm an experienced UX designer, I know that I could use the object page template for that. That is like regularly used if you go to a detail view, and I just go to that page. Once again, select the template that I will use and paste it into my design file. Once more, I would change the aspect ratio to be a little bit more appropriate for my project. And here again, you can change every aspect you want. For example, since this is that document number, I could just say this is document whatever number that is, and I can just change every aspect once more. For example, if I don't want to have this picture here, I can just remove it, and we have our screen design ready. So now, if we want to tell this application in Figma that if we click on this, we want to see that screen, we can just go into the prototype mode here in the top right. And then you just select the element, like this one here, and then this small circle appears. And if you drag and drop, you can now draw an arrow to whatever screen you want to navigate to. And that's basically it. So now I can click here on the start button, or you can also click here on the top right on this play button. And you can preview your click dummy here. And we can see, if I click on that, we will get redirected to the other view of this application. All right, and this is how you can quite easily create click dummies. So now I can just navigate back and forth between those two screen designs. And you can see now I intuitively want to navigate back to the list report by clicking here on this arrow. But of course, we have to tell our click dummy that if we click on this arrow, we navigate back to the other screen. And if we now reopen the click dummy, we can also open it in a tab like I just did. We can now navigate back and forth between the detail view and the list report. And yeah, this is basically quite easy how you can create click dummies. And I think this might really illustrate how great of a visualization tool this is. And for last step, I would like to also show you how you can implement dialogs. So it might be that if I click on create, I have to fill a few fields in a form in order to create a new object. And also for that, we can just go back to our templates. We can go to dialog. And in a dialog, we have, for example, a template that is all right to use as a starting point. I can just copy paste that in. I would recommend you to give that one also a name by double clicking here on the list on the left side. We can say dialog create. And now it's pretty easy. We just go back to the button and we say, if we click the button, so we click on this plus, we want to open an overlay, and the overlay that we want to show is that one that we just added into our screen design project, and we want to have it positioned centered. And we also want to add a background so that it is a modal dialog. So we go back to our click dummy, and when we click on create, we can see that now our freshly created dialog opens. And maybe we just want to change the headline of this dialog to create document. And we do that, go back to the screen design, and we already have the update here. So this is really the magic of this tool Figma in combination with those Fiori design stencils. And now we would like to also close the dialog, but we can't. For this, we would just have to say when this button closes clicked. So we go back to prototype. When it's clicked, we want to close the overlay. And if we go back to our prototype, we can now see that everything works. So we can open an overlay, close it. We can go to the detail page, navigate back. And in just 24 minutes, we have a well-functioning screen design and click dummy ready to use. And with this knowledge, you can really create big applications. You can create detailed applications, illustrate all of your ideas. And I think that will be really helpful to you, your colleagues, and your project teams. And if you like this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in a comment. I know we just barely touched the surface of this topic, so you could now go more into detail on how to use Figma properly. You could learn more about SAP Fiori by analyzing the Fiori design guidelines, and you can really build a lot of experience, but this is basically all you need to get started to create screen designs and click dummies for SAP Fiori applications. And I hope you liked it, and I wish you a great day and see you next time.